Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of the Walters Wanderings Travel Podcast. My name is Scott Walters, and today we will be talking about the Norwegian Cruise Line cruising experience. So I should let you know that on top of any other promotions that Norwegian may be able to offer to you, based on what cruise you pick and when you pick it and all of that, I will be offering extra onboard credit to you. We'll start at $25 for an inside cabin, and we'll go all the way up to $100 onboard credit if you book the Haven. And I can tell you from my own personal experience, the Haven was unbelievable and worth every penny and more. So just be aware of that. It's the inclusions there are just incredible. So today we have Kris Kiersarsky from Norwegian. He is with us today to talk about the Norwegian Cruise Line experience. He's been on the podcast before. So Kris, welcome back.
I know. Last time I was thinking, last time we spoke, I was actually on board a ship.
You were. You were doing a seminar at sea. You were in some Caribbean port, and you showed me the lookout of your balcony, and I'm going like, that's not a bad way to go, you know.
No, it never is. Actually, I'm home now, but I have been globetrotting for just a bit. I've been all over the place, whether it be Alaska, the ABC Islands, Canada, New England, Turks and Caicos. I've been all over and I can't wait to share my experiences. And also, I know you were recently on the Breakaway and you did the Haven.
Yes.
So my wife and I did not the Haven, but we did the Breakaway last year, and such a beautiful ship. So I would love to.
It's a very nice ship. The Breakaway is a very nice ship, and we went on a very nice itinerary to the Greek islands and Malta and Sicily and Italy. And we'd spent 3 days previous to the cruise in Rome, so I could show my 3 teenager kids some of the wonders that are Rome. I was in the Haven, and we were in a 2-bedroom suite because there was 5 of us. We could have separated to be 3 and 2. Sure. But there was really no need to, because the 2-bedroom suite was certainly spacious enough for 5. We had 2 in the one main bedroom. We had 2 in the interior style bedroom. And then we had, my boy was sleeping on the pull-out couch, and he said it was comfortable for 9 nights. There's plenty of storage. If you were on a 2-week cruise on the Breakaway, you'd have plenty of storage even for 5 people. But the added items in the Haven are just unbelievable, because you have your own. Not only do you have a room steward like any other cabin, you have a butler, and you could literally call a butler at 10 o'clock at night and say, "Can you bring me a bowl of potato chips?" And he would. You know.
Yeah.
I had a funny story. The last day of the cruise, I said to the butler, says, "Do you need anything for your trip home?" I says, I could use a few gummy bears in a baggie, because I like to just chew on gummy bears and, savor the flavor and all. So when we got back from our evening activity, before going to bed, we walk into the cabin, and on the table, because there was a table for 4 where you could actually eat, there was a big bag of gummy bears. I mean, we're talking a regular, it must have been a 2-pound bag of gummy bears. Wow. Right there, waiting for me with a note. It says, have a safe trip home, and then you can't beat that. Yeah. And there's a restaurant, and there's also a lounge with the best mixologists on board the ship are found in the Haven. And literally, if you tell them the ingredients you want in a particular drink or the type of drink you like to drink, they will come up with your new favorite. My wife became enamored with something called the Pimm's Cup. Pimm's is it's a gin-based liqueur. Yeah. And you add some ginger ale, and you add something else, and you add fruit. She got the recipe from the bartender, the mixologist, and you muddle some of the fruit, you add extra fruit, you have this Pimm's and these other carbonated items, and she just loved it. And, she was looking for it yesterday, and I said, "We don't have the Pimm's here, hon." So that's the way it goes, So I guess I have to go find some Pimm's in my local liquor store.
Yeah,
but it's really tremendous. And again, when you're looking at value added, even though value might not be the best word to use, sometimes it's just bang for your buck.
Experience
and the experience, right? Because when you're in the Haven, it literally is a ship within the ship, because you actually don't have to do much interacting with anywhere on the ship unless you want to. Okay, you really don't. Now, for me, I go to karaoke, I see some of the shows, I do all that, so I'm interacting with the the people that are not Haven guests, and listen, most all the people are fine, so it doesn't matter to me. But if you want to just to have a nice seclusion and you can sit in a chair and read a book, or you can just lounge by the pool they have there. There's even a sauna and other things. You could do that. And there's there's a private sun deck, so you don't have to be fighting with the people with towels on the chairs. It really is tremendous. Plus, again, the restaurant has fine quality food. I mean, if you price it out based on a land-based restaurant, you're still looking at $40 or $50 a meal at dinner. You're looking at $15 a plate for breakfast, and they serve lunch and they serve snacks, and they have other things going on. And again, if you get the beverage package, you'll get all of your drinks for free. So basically, it really works out to be quite a bargain. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah. And again, it comes down to the experience. And going back to the gummy bears, I actually had a guest on board who just specifically their 9-year-old son wanted red gummy bears. Just red. So that night they had red gummy bears just sitting there on the table that you were talking about. So
yeah,
I thought that was
it's special. I mean, it's special when they go do things to that detail. It really is.
Yeah, it's not blue, it's not yellow, it's red gummy bears.
There you go. Well, again, I don't discriminate. I have them all. So let's talk about the Norwegian Cruise Line, not just the experience, but I guess we got to talk about the fleet. And I know there's always something new.
There is.
Let's talk about something new that's going on in Norwegian for coming up for the end of 23 and into 2024.
Yeah, absolutely. So we just launched Norwegian Viva. So we're super excited about that. She launched in August when I was doing my globe trotting. So she is doing some very unique itineraries. To mention Europe, if you want to go to Europe, now's the time to do it. Europe is hot right now. Europe, Alaska, and Caribbean. But for Viva, what's unique about her is she's doing some really great itineraries. So, for example, she's going from Lisbon. She's stopping in Cadiz, Barcelona, Ibiza, Villafranche, which is a small, quaint town, which is really fascinating. Florence and Pisa, and stopping in Rome. But not only that, from Rome, she's actually going to Venice. So she'll be doing some stops, and also she'll be doing a 10-night Europe that hits in Turkey, Greece, and Italy. So you have an overnight in Istanbul. You have a late sail in Santorini because obviously you want to get those pictures of the blue dome.
Yes,
cross church
and the sunset. And the sunset, yes.
Exactly. So we have some late sails in Santorini. So you got 4 countries in 10 days. And you know what? The number one reason why guests choose to cruise to Europe is to visit multiple destinations in one visit. And that's what's great about us is that, we get to do that. We have this, long itineraries. That's where we're going towards. But at the same time, you don't have to unpack multiple times. There's no more backpacking in Europe anymore. It's let's go on a cruise. The cruise acts as your hotel. And what a beautiful hotel Viva and Prima is, because Prima will also be doing Europe next year as well. So there's so many different stops and beautiful itineraries. And not only that, Viva this winter will be sailing out of San Juan, Puerto Rico. Okay, so we're talking about lots of culture, history, mountain parks, natural wonders, whatever it may be, and it's the best way to island hop across the Caribbean. So,
and the Southern Caribbean, but the Southern Caribbean is really good because again, I've been on.
I was just there,
and I, the Southern Caribbean cruises are great because again, you can get the flavor of each place. And what I do And what I did for my trip to Europe with the cruise, yeah, it was every day, but the first full day of the cruise was a port day. So,
Right.
it's very, very port intensive. Would I like to have a sea day on the last day? Oh yeah, but we didn't. It's okay. We
Oh,
survived.
yeah.
But when you're in like the Southern Caribbean or you're in Europe and you're doing port to port to port, you get the little taste, you get the little morsel of it, and then say there's a place you want to actually go back to, you file it in your head. So for me,
Right.
I want to go back to Malta and I want to go to Sicily, and Malta and Sicily are very accessible to each other. So at some point, I'm going to do a little 1 week holiday where I do 3 nights in Malta and 3 nights in Sicily, and I will get my complete fill of both places. But I wouldn't have been exposed to them without being on the cruise.
Right. And that's the benefit of being on a cruise, is that you get to taste a little of every single different place, whether it be seeing the turtles in Carlisle Bay in Barbados, or the pitons in St. Lucia, or doing your shopping. I have a really good jeweler in St. Thomas, so I try not to go there because I spend a lot of money. But the 365 beaches in Antigua, or the French and Dutch side of St. Martin. I mean, the sailway of Tortola alone is enough. And being in the observation, I mean, the list goes on, and that's just the Caribbean.
Right.
Europe is a whole different ballgame too. And also Alaska, whether you're in Ketchikan or Juneau or Skagway, or just sailing around Glacier Bay. It is technically a sea day, but the views there, I took many, 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 many pictures, and what I see in my eyes compared to what I see in the pictures is completely different.
Yes, and that I think when it comes to Alaska cruising in 2024, and this is not hyperbole when we say it's filling up, it is filling up.
No, it is. Absolutely.
But the thing is, it truly is seeing is believing, because I've been on an Alaska cruise, and yeah, you take the pictures, and then the pictures are very nice, but
Sure.
when you're actually there and you see it, and the week I went, I was lucky. There was no rain anywhere in Alaska, which was really quite stunning, because that's all the locals were saying is, you did not bring the rain this week. So because it will be rainy in some of those places, Ketchikan especially, because it is actually in a rainforest area.
Right.
But if you go and you do these things, and again, Norwegian does have some cruises that do include Glacier Bay, and in all honesty, I do try to steer people to the Glacier Bay experience in Alaska, because it is truly amazing. And yes, there are naturalists and people from the National Park Service that will help describe things. You can go have a hot chocolate or a hot toddy or whatever your drink of choice is, and as the ship maneuvers, and the ship will do a big 360, so everyone gets an equal opportunity to see. It'll move over a few miles. It'll do another 360. It's really quite amazing how that works. And and again, you get all the other things that the Norwegian ships are known for, which is, I think, it's very family centric. There,
Sure.
Other cruise lines aren't, but Norwegian is, and I know that on some of the ships there are some really fantastic and unique experiences you can have on board. So talk about those for a second.
Yeah, I mean, as you mentioned before, you brought your own family, right? And you have the haven experience, but you also have the rest of the ship. But I mean, we feature up to 20 different bars and lounges, so there's a unique vibe in each of those, whether it be our Maltings whiskey, or whether it be our mojito bar, or my personal favorite is District Brew House. It has up to 22 different brews on tap. The list goes on, and even food. You can be on a 7-night cruise, and you can do breakfast, lunch, and dinner in a different restaurant every single time. That's amazing. You can't get that anywhere else, whether it be complimentary or specialty. I mean, you have different options, and that's what I love about our brand, is that we give you options. It's your vacation. It's up to you how you want to spend it, whether it be in your room getting room service, or if you want to go out and about, you want to do a show. My personal favorite is Choir Man. I was just on the Escape 2 weeks ago, and I signed up for every single show, not only per night, 7 o'clock, 9 o'clock. So that's how much I love this show. And it's so much fun. It's very entertaining. It's very interacting. But we have plenty of other shows as well. But like I said, it's all about choice and your choice to how you want to spend it. Not only that, our crew is absolutely amazing. I've got to take some time to really know who our crew is. They're passionate about what they do, why they do it, and they're just trying to make your vacation unforgettable. And not only that, we have a whole fleet, whether it be something big, something small, something, you know, um, everything's fresh on board our ships. And what I mean by that is that we've recently um, refurbished all of our ships. So it's like being on a brand new ship every single time. One ship I want to point out is the Norwegian Spirit. So it's the oldest ship in the fleet, but we refurbished her in February of 2020. So if you can think about the timing of that, right? She, for the longest time, didn't see anyone. Okay. Now she's doing these very unique itineraries. We put about $150 million into her. Okay. And what I mean by that is we have in our NCLH brand, so that's Norwegian Cruise Line Holdings, we have Oceania and Regent. She feels like a Regent ship when I tell you. Not only that, we took out the kids area on that ship. We have very exotic, longer itineraries during Hawaii. Or my favorite one is actually the Fire and Ice doing Alaska and Hawaii on the same exact cruise. So I don't even know how I would pack for that.
Yeah, that would assume that you would have to bring layers. And speaking of Hawaii,
Definitely layers.
Norwegian exclusively for a mass market cruise line actually does Hawaii only cruises on a ship called the Pride of America. I've had friends on it. I'm going to venture on it at some point because I think it's an important itinerary to take because again it's not just island to island. There are overnights and then there are other things you can do. Plus, you can do a pre or a post cruise stay in Honolulu, so you can get the full on Oahu experience. So,
Right.
talk about the Pride of America and how it actually works very well for people to want to go ahead and do things of this sort, the Hawaiian experience.
Yeah, absolutely. First and foremost, okay, Maui. We've heard about it. It was such a tragic experience, not only for the island but all the islands in Hawaii. Okay, so I'm proud to announce that we have gone back to Maui, and I actually had a colleague who was on, and just of yesterday we had a sales meeting, and he talked about his experience there. And everyone was so grateful and welcoming, and just like tell all your friends that, hey, we're still here. Like, come on to Maui, right? But what's great about the Pride of America, it is a U.S. flag cruise ship. So what that means is that we're allowed to do round trip U.S., meaning Hawaii, round trip Honolulu. You get to visit 5 ports in 7 days, 4 different islands, so 5 ports. You got Maui or Oahu, Maui, Hilo, Kona, Kauai. So you got the Big Island. We have 2 overnights, an overnight in Maui. Again, they are more than willing to have us here, and we're so supportive of them, and they're so supportive of us. Maui and also Kauai as well. As you mentioned, there is a opportunity to do a pre-night. So it's a pre-cruise tour, which is 4 days, 3 nights. Okay, so you stay at Waikiki. It's at the Grand Hyatt right on Waikiki Beach. You get to visit Pearl Harbor, Polynesian Cultural Center, the Dole Plantation, the North and South Shores. You get to tour. Also includes a private transfer to the port, to the cruise ship itself, as well as a local guide. My first flight ever in my life was actually to Hawaii. I was in high school and I played the trumpet, and we did a band trip to Oahu. We played at I'm forgetting it, but Brigham Young University. We literally did 3 hours of it, but we were there for an entire week, so we got to see everything that Oahu has to offer. And also, that was from Baltimore all the way to Hawaii. So I definitely recommend, if you're going to go there early, because you're gotta get accustomed to the time change, and there's just so much to see. So, and also because it is a U.S. flagship and because it is a U.S. state, you don't need a passport.
That's true. It's all that's all true. And again, you get the full-on experience. We can add the cruise tour right in front of it, or even at the end of it. I'm always a fan of turf before surf, but that's the way I roll. So that's good. Now. Let's talk about some of the current promotions. We know that Norwegian is famous for having, I wouldn't say the promotion of the day, but let's just say that they do switch them out with some regularity. So if it's not a promotion that doesn't hit you right now, we can certainly find one that will hit you soon. So what should the people expect if they want to go ahead and book a Norwegian cruise right now?
Yeah, so as of this podcast, okay, it's 70% off second guest. All right, so you pay for one, 70% off the second. Plus, you got free open bar, specialty dining, Wi-Fi, shore excursions, free airfare. So if you want to go to Hawaii, if you want to go to Europe, if you want to go to Alaska, now's the time to do it because it's BOGO Air, meaning buy one, get one free airfare. Now, is it for everyone? No. If you're very flexible with your air schedule, so meaning that I don't care what airplane I go on, I don't care the airline, I don't care my schedule, that kind of thing is totally that's the way to go. Okay. But we have all these different options, right? So it does end soon. Now, I mentioned, Scott, you mentioned actually that you are going to give some onboard credit to those who book with you after watching this podcast, right?
Right. Yes. If they mention the podcast when they call to book, if they call or they write to book or send me messages or however, we'll ramp it up. We'll do $25 for interior, $50 for ocean view, $75 for balcony or suite, and then $100 for haven for cabin.
Well, how about this? Because I didn't even mention this to you. I'm going to match it.
Okay. So now this offer will end. Let's see. Today, we'll make it end the 30th of September. So minimum 30th of September. So whatever I've offered, which is 25, 50, 75, 100, Kris will kick in because he has the ability and the technology to do so. He'll kick in and match that, and it'll be on any upcoming cruise. Now, cruises are booking out until when? When? I mean, how far along can we book out for cruises?
Sure. So we have a ton of options all the way up to 2025. We will be having some more options. Normally, that's around, fallish, winterish, which we're starting to get into. So we will have some more options for 2025, 2026 coming up soon. But I always highly, highly, highly recommend that you book your cruise as soon as possible to get the best rate and also to get the most preferred availability for your stateroom. So
right, and there's more time to make payments because that's the other thing.
Correct.
You could, for cruises basically leaving the United States, the last payment is due 90 days before you cruise. If you're going into a different area like Europe, or if you're sailing from maybe Australia or somewhere else that isn't States, it's 120 days out for the final payment. Deposits are low, and
they're refundable too.
And right, the deposits are low. They are refundable in case you can't go. And I can also magically actually make your deposit be less money because we have something called the Cruise First Certificate. But you have to ask me about that. And again, the Cruise First Certificate, depending on which ones are available, you'll either spend $150 and make that turn into $300, or $250 and turns into $500. Again, That's not on me. Norwegian decides which ones are going to be popping out. So, but you have to be in touch to start wandering in that way.
So maybe that might be coming up soon. Can't say when exactly, but
wink, wink, nod, nod. I get it. I understand.
wink, wink, nod, nod.
So, but the minimum is $150 turns into $300, which actually will help a lot of. It covers a lot of deposits. And by the way, if you do the air, two things about air before we go on. Number one thing about air is when you make your deposit and you're doing the air, you don't have to pay for the airfare like with other things. All right, so because that'll just be locked in. The other thing about air is if you are on a more restricted air diet, say that you are, you don't want to have a flight with a stop, or you don't want to have that. I can arrange for what's called an air deviation if there's a small fee involved per cabin. But when we do the air deviation, we can assure you that we will get something that will be more of your liking. Will it be perfectly to your liking? I can't guarantee that, but let's just say that we can make arrangements to stop you from having to do a transfer at some airport on your way somewhere or anything like that. And that's important. So I can do that for you. It's a little more work, but in the long run, if you have a more specificity in how you need to do your air, we can make that happen.
Right. And to kind of piggyback off that, this is what I personally recommend is always put on the air when you have booked your cruise. Okay. Think about 2025. Air's not even out yet.
That's true.
It's not even out yet. So let's lock in the promotion now. Down the road, talk with Scott, figure out, okay, do I want a customized air? Yes. If that's the case, talk with Scott and he'll hook you up. He'll get you your customized air. Will it be more expensive? Absolutely. Because, it's something that is not bought in advance. However, if you are looking for a really, really great deal and you don't care, as long as I get there, it's kind of like a guaranteed cabin on a cruise ship. Like, hey, I have a room. I know I have a room, but I don't know where I'm going to be. Kind of like also like a hotel. When you check in, you don't know what your hotel room number is going to be, but you know you have a room there. It's very similar. So I always recommend putting the air on. You can always take it off prior to final payment. So if you need to change your air schedule, that's okay. But always think that air's not even out yet, and we already have pricing for it, and it's BOGO.
Right. Yeah, and then of course, that's a big risk because air, just as a general rule, air only appears around 11 months ahead.
Right.
So if you're looking at something for even Christmas, New Year's 2024, or into 2024,
might not even be out yet.
The air hasn't made its appearance yet. So again, so it's you're rolling the dice, but it's a controlled roll. It's something that's not controlled.
At the end of the day, you as our guest have the option to take it or not. So
right. And before final payment, there you go. And that makes it pretty simple. And of course, if you made a bunch of payments and you just have a tiny little final payment, then you decide not to do the air, that money will be refunded. So that's not a problem.
Right. Exactly. So when it comes to air, great deal. But is it for everyone? No. And that's okay.
Well, just like anything else, the Haven's not for everyone. Some people just want an inside cabin because they want to save the money to do other things with it, like go to the casino or do other things. I get that. I mean, I understand. So, so it's really great to have you on, Kris. I appreciate your words of wisdom. Do you have anything else you want to add before we head on our way for our respective days?
Yeah, the biggest thing is. Being a globetrotter for the past 5 weeks, I will say that travel is back. It is back, is with vengeance, and people are doing vengeance travel. So what I mean by that is that people are going on all sorts of different vacations, whether it be land-based, whether it be cruise, whether people are traveling, okay? So what that means for you as our guest is book early. Talk with Scott. Make sure you book early. If you have a group, talk to them about that because we have some really, really great group rates and different incentives for you. But at the end of the day, people are traveling. And if you wait, I don't want you to wait. Okay. Do it now. I know something, 2020. I'm not even thinking about 2024 right now in my personal life. I'm thinking about tomorrow. But if you're going to do 2024, 2025, start playing it now.
Yeah, this is not hyperbole. Every other travel partner I've talked with has indicated that basically everyone is going out there, and then I witnessed it. I mean, I saw it. I saw it in airports in New York. I saw an airport in Rome. I saw an airport in Charlotte.
Yeah.
I saw it on the cruise ship. I definitely saw it in Santorini. It was like Christmas week at Disney World, but the only ride was the cable car or the donkey. So I witnessed all of that. I mean, I have seen the huddled masses, yearning to do their thing. And in fact, even when I was in Rome, my guide there said that it wasn't as crowded as it was in June and July because all the Romans went away. So it's just we aren't making this up, and we're not hyping it to have you purchase travel. We're telling you because we care to make sure that you're going to get the very best experience possible, and that's the bottom line. You get the best experience possible, and then you can make your deposit early, and then you can pay as you go. It really works out great.
Right. So, and it's all about the experience. I mean, at the end of the day, think about, say you go to a random city that you've never been to. Let me ask you, Scott, what's the first thing that you do? Say you want to go to a restaurant. What's the first thing that you do?
When I go to a restaurant, I look at the menu.
Or
I look when I sit down, I look at the menu and I check my surroundings to see the vibe. I look to see what beers are on tap because that's who I am, and then I'll ask for advice. What's good here? So
right.
I'll ask the waiter or waitress or even the hostess, what's good here? If you were eating a meal here, what would you eat? That'd be what I would do.
Right. And very similar. And that's when it comes down to figure out what you think you want to do. At the end of the day, we have refundable deposits. So if it doesn't work out or the dates don't work out, that's fine. But you're locking in the price today, not tomorrow. And as I mentioned, we're cruising.
Oh yes, and then the fleet's getting bigger, and the fleet's getting bolder, and like I say, there's something for everyone. I've been on the Gem, which is a smaller ship, and the Breakaway, which is a larger ship, and there are other ships. There are many other ships and many itineraries. So it's just a matter of what you want to do, and then we'll hook you up. So, Kris, I thank you so much for being on this edition of the Walter's Wandering Travel Podcast.
Oh, of course.
And everyone be aware, we got a whole bunch more episodes coming up this month as I'm loading up because we're talking 2024 travel because it is not too early to do that. So I appreciate
especially in Alaska. So
yes, like I said, there's the time is now to plan for 2024. So again, I thank you very much for listening, everyone, and have a